It's my pleasure today to introduce Noel Landry, who's the General Manager of Buller Ski Lifts, and it comes to us from all the way from Canada, right?
That's correct. I'm originally a Canadian, now I'm a Canozzi.
Canozzi, excellent. Yeah. Welcome to Bread and Butter TV.
Thanks, Wendy.
I've had the best time in the last couple of days checking out all the food and drink offerings up on the hill, and there have been a lot of changes, right? So you came up to start here last year. It feels as though you must have completely reformed a whole heap of stuff since you started.
Oh, I think there was a lot of changes in, in planning before I came up. I've been fortunate enough to inherit many of them, which have been fantastic. So,
awesome.
Bull Run Cantina down at the bottom of Standard, the Mexican margaritas and that sort of thing were last year, and then this year we've got Spurs happening and more activity here in Moosehead. So yeah, there's been a real focus on après.
Fantastic. So normally here at Moosehead at weekends you'd have a band playing right over there, right?
We do. So I guess Moosehead, we started off last year in our kind of truncated season. We had a bit of activity with bands and music and that sort of thing. And then more regularly this year we've had bands every Saturday night. So it's blues bands, the sort of thing you can dance to. It's not the kind of, sad, the world is ending blues. It's more, hey, we're having fun blues is how I would put it here. So yeah, it's been a really fantastic vibe, and I myself love coming here on a Saturday night.
So you're a bit of a music man, I hear.
I am a big fan of music. I occasionally will be seen dancing even on the dance floor at Moosehead, which is a bit frightening for the staff. But we're really excited that COVID is the world's changed and we're not in lockdown, and it's a great experience to be out in venues like this again. Yeah,
exactly. So music is, it's probably not something that you really equate with a ski holiday, because you might be lucky to get a disco or a little quiet band in a corner somewhere, but this is a new focus at Buller, isn't it, to have some good bands up here in winter?
I think music absolutely is, Wendy. I beg to differ from the perspective, and especially the history up here. I've only been here for a year, but I've heard so many stories about Skyhooks playing up here, or Molly Meldrum doing sets up here as a DJ, and there is a really rich history of music up here at Buller. And from my own perspective as a kid growing up in Canada and going to ski resorts there and in the United States, that troubadour thing of going in and see somebody playing a John Denver song at the end of the night, or
something you can sing along to, right?
Yeah, that was always part of après, and it was always part of après here. And I think that music and ski resorts really is something that's always gone together well. And we're doing it differently this year. We've got Spurs, we've got a DJ deck there now, which is not how I grew up in the 70s. It's a new thing where we've got staff actually get up there and do the work the decks, as they say.
Hey, that was pretty good.
It's not bad. And so, yeah, music and just celebrating the end of a good day of skiing is what we're all about.
And you play a bit of music yourself?
I do. I might even have a shameless plug for myself on Spotify. Wendy, I'm
off you
there. But I did a gig last week at the National Alpine Museum, an après gig where I just did a retro old songs from après that I grew up with, the John Denver and the Eagles and that sort of thing. And that was a lot of fun because it was at the museum in a retro setting. So yeah, I'm a big fan of music and big fan of that getting together with others and singing around the fire.
Well, that's a great thing for visitors to Mount Buller, to know that the man in charge is making sure there's going to be some good music up here. Now, you've come to us from Canada to Australia. What are you noticing about the Australian ski scene that, compared to what you grew up with in Canada?
That's a good question, Wendy. It is very unique here in so many ways. I think that the main thing is that so many Australians don't recognize how unique and wonderful the Australian ski scene is. The Australian alpine environment is just a really precious part of Australia that not enough people see. And just the fact that we've got snow gums and being covered in snow after a good dump, it's just such a unique beauty that is different from what I grew up with. So I certainly love that. I love the history of the lodges up here, which are amazing. So many of these lodges were built by the grandparents of people who I work with or who ski here still, and they lugged all the equipment up the hill, and sometimes on horseback and they would hike for half the day and then ski half the day. The stories of the pioneers here are just fascinating, and the relationships that are still here on the mountain are really similar to other mountains in North America, say, or in Europe. But here we have our unique stories and unique characters, which I really love.
Yeah, so it's big history lessons for you to catch up on arriving here, I imagine.
Absolutely, and people have been so generous about telling me the stories and sharing that history. And you know, Bullers used to have two, the orange and the blue, and the Austrian ski instructors and the French. And there's just so many rich stories about why the mountain is what it is now, and you really need to understand that history in so many parts of my job. So I'm a bit of a history buff as well as music, so it's fun in that sense too.
Fantastic. Now, I need to ask you, you've been all around the mountain. Where are your favourite places to go? To get a great feed,
my favorite place is Standard Run. So I can take Standard Run, I can get 2 runs out of it. I'll get Skyline down to Standard, and then Bull Run Cantina's there. And
what's your order there?
Well, if it's my day off, like today, I'd have a margarita.
Hey!
Last year, we found an old slushy making machine, and then added the margarita mix and figured out that everybody loved that. And that's been quite a success down there.
Fantastic.
I know that the lifties, though, get a bit tired of hearing the Mexican music after about 4 hours at the bottom of the lift, but it's got a great vibe. It's in the sun, and it is kind of my place to go when I'm having a day off and skiing and relaxing at the same time.
Because that's the big part of the après is actually the punctuated bits in between ski runs, right? It's not just about this fabulous setting at the end of the day. And by the way, big thanks to Rosso Mara for the whiskey and the beautiful charcuterie spread, which we will hop into off camera. But where else would you pop into, like if you're out skiing for the day?
Well, if I have to pick my times to go to Tyrrell, for example. Tyrrell, the pasta at Tyrrell's with Jimmy is just fantastic. But it's so busy at times that I usually allow our guests to go, and I have to choose my moments because I don't want to take it away from a guest experience. It's just really is some of the best carbonara penne that you're going to get anywhere. It's fantastic.
I have to agree. Really good pasta.
And it's hard too because I always see the staff in there too. You know, if you want to know where someone is, they're generally at Tyrrell's. They're on a break.
Someone send them to Tyrrell.
Yeah.
Find them. So also I wanted to find out from you, because look, everywhere, internationally, but more so in Australia, staffing in hospitality is a massive issue. And I mean, I've felt it here in the last couple of days. There have been places that have had to close for a certain amount of time because they haven't had enough staff. So I suppose, it's such a juggle, isn't it? You want people to have this amazing experience, but you also need to look after your staff. So how are you managing that? That's
a very difficult one for us and for everybody in the business. And it's more difficult for us from the perspective of we've got this short window for us to be successful, you know, a 4-month season. And so many people are up here to ski or snowboard. So, you know, our staff in hospitality, they want to have fun and they want to be out there on a day like this when it's snowing, and they want to enjoy it. To the credit of our staff, you know, it's a mix of things. We try to allow people the time to go out there when they can. A lot of people will snowboard or ski to their shift, or ski down from where they're staying in their staff accommodation. So you get your runs here and there, but I have to say that our core staff, you know, Glenn and Ross and Kath and Josh, they're all working really hard for our guests, because the difficult thing we've had is we've had a great start to the season, lots of snow, huge bookings and lots of people to feed. And that has been a real challenge. And the reality is we just have had people who've been working really hard to do it. And we've had challenges we've had 2 chefs break their wrists snowboarding. We had one break their collarbone.
Oh no.
So we are losing staff every once in a while to injury as well, which happens on a mountain when you've got 700 staff. Some of them get injured skiing. But no, credit to the people who've been working hard to get hospitality back happening, not just on the mountain, but around Melbourne and Victoria, because that's what we're known for. That's what we're good at. You know?
Exactly. So what would you say, here's your opportunity, like to get more people to come and have an experience up here as a worker on the mountain, whether it's in the kitchen or front of house, or even, you know, lifties, groomers. There are so many different jobs up here. Like how do you attract people up here to give it a crack?
Well, I think it's a mix. I think we have some great mentors, particularly in the kitchens. We have a great environment there where it's, how to put it, you know, it's a team environment, and it's a situation where it's flexible, and we're really looking to grow people within the organization, not just in the kitchen, but whether it's in lifts or in other parts as well. I do feel that we've got a really open environment to learning and inviting people in to learn some new skills.
Right.
At the same time, we're flexible, and we want you to be out there skiing in the winter and mountain biking in the summer, or hiking. You know, there's so much to do living up on the mountain. It's a great mix of lifestyle and getting away from it all in what you want to do. You can work hard and you can play hard, and that's the kind of environment that we like, and the people who tend to flourish here.
So speaking of summer, I've been coming up here summer and winter for a long time, and it feels like the Mount Buller, like most alpine resorts in Australia, have been really trying to make it a 12-month of the year resort. But it never quite happens in terms of like just having enough staff, enough places open, that sort of thing. Like, what are your plans to try and bridge that gap? And you know, what do you see as the future of the resort? It
is. I mean, the world around, everybody on a ski resort is trying to have more of a green season, as we call it, you know, evenness to the business. What we're trying to do is a mix of things. We're trying to have more product, so we'll have zip lines here soon.
Whoa.
We'll have what's called Via Ferrata, which is assisted mountain climbing on the backside. We'll have more mountain biking, more hiking, more just basic stuff like you know, the opportunity to go to the gym or play basketball in the indoor arena that we have. So we're just looking to have more product is one answer to that. The other part of it is we're looking at having subsidized accommodation for staff. So making it an affordable place to live up here. I mean, it's expensive to live in the city. We do have accommodation in the green season for 8 months of the year. Come up, live, work, save your money up here is definitely one of the things we're looking at.
Ah, that's a good tip, actually. So in terms of summer, with the zip line, that sort of thing, what's the timing on getting those new products in?
Some of those are in planning right now. I'd say, you know, last year we had a major upgrade of the mountain biking, which was fantastic. We've got some new trails for the walking going in next year. And the zip line, I think, is probably about a year to 18 months away.
That'll be exciting.
So yeah, it is about getting more product that's complementary to the mountain. You know, and it's other things too, where I don't know if you've ever been up here for the wildflower season, but it's absolutely beautiful. And it's promoting those sorts of things, as well as the fact that if it's 40 Celsius in Melbourne, it's 30 here.
Yeah.
If it's 30 in Melbourne, it's 20 here. So I think that there's more people becoming aware in the post-COVID world of this is a place where you can go to really turn off, refresh, get away from crowds. And I think that that's one of our unique points of difference.
So you're living up here with your wife and kids. How do you find the work-life balance yourself? Like you never really knock off. You're on your day off and you're here with me. How do you find work-life balance?
It's an interesting question for all of us. You know, I think the difficult question is whether you go skiing on your day off or whether you go to town and get a haircut. There's
hats.
Yeah, and you put the beanie back on for another week. That's the right answer. So. It is a bit of you know, you live in it's a bit of living in a small town is part of it as well. You're in a small community, which is quite tight, which I really enjoy that. And it's a different vibe in summer is the other answer to that.
Yeah.
Summer, there's a really tight group who have dinner parties and really go out and do hikes together and that sort of thing. It's a different feel. Winter, you work really hard and you're kind of always on.
Yeah.
But that's what you do when you're in a situation where it's a 4-month-a-year job. I come from the event industry where I used to have to work hard for a 2-week event or work in the Grand Prix for 4 or 5 days. Now I just do a really long event, which is 4 months long. And you put it all into it and then...
It is a bit like a race. It's like a Grand Prix, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Just got to get to that finish line.
Exactly. It's there in October and you know, we have, you know, we're fortunate that we work a 6-day week over winter. Then we have extra holidays in the off season. So many of us go overseas, look at other ski resorts. Some of our staff work overseas in other resorts. So again, you know, you can have a good lifestyle in working through winter and then having more flexible options in the off season.
Now, finally, I know you've grown up with skiing. Your family have worked in the ski industry, right?
Yes.
So what is it that you bring from North America to here? What is it? What is that special sauce that you bring, having had all that experience in the Northern Hemisphere?
I think it probably is the après and love of the kind of the non-skiing. To be honest, from the perspective, I come from the East in Canada. Je suis Québécois, je suis Canadien français, alors we're French, you know, in my dad's side of the family.
Well, you'll be loving the new French restaurant at the Villager then.
I do, absolutely. My wife and I are fans. And, you know, in that world, it's pretty cold, so you can't ski all day. You go in and have a drink quite often, or at the end of the day, you have some fondue or something like that. That mix of lifestyle and skiing is something that we do well in French Canada, that I really enjoy here, that we're celebrating here for sure. So skiing and being on the slopes is important, but catching up with your friends, having good food, a nice whiskey or a nice red, that's part of skiing as well for me.
Well, I can highly recommend this experience here by the fire. I'm feeling very privileged to have this perfect spot here. How hard is it to get this on a busy night?
Exactly. Yeah.
You'd be fighting for it, right?
Yep.
Well, look, thank you so much for your time, Noel. It's been fascinating getting to know you a bit better. We can see clearly that Mount Buller's got a few big years ahead of it with you in charge. Like, it's really exciting to see what will happen next.
It is.
Thank you so much, and cheers. Here's
Cheers.
to a great winter.
Exactly. Thank you.